Hello everybody, this is Maniac4Bricks, and yeah, a video! After what, a whole year and a half? Alright, we're finally here, we're doing a video, we're actually doing something different this time. A tier list! Because I feel like it's going to take too long for me to try to make a video properly about Hidden Side, especially for the Halloween season. Blah blah blah. Let's get right to it. If you're watching this, you know why you're here, you know why I'm making this. I appreciate you being here. Alright, so this is going through every single Hidden Side product with Lego pieces. I mean, there's probably like a book or two out there that probably isn't part of this, but this is all the ones that were released as either a polybag, a retail set, a gift with purchase, a magazine gift. You get the idea. I do not own every single set, but I practically do. And I say that with confidence because there's like one or two polybags I don't have, but it's all basic pieces. I still have the minifigs because they're from other sets. It's not that difficult for the magazine gift ones, unless you want to get it specifically with the magazine or whatever. But I did purchase all of the retail sets and the gift with purchases when Hidden Side was an active theme with Lego. I very much enjoyed this theme fully, like 100%. Okay, maybe like 99% because I didn't play the app and I can't play it anymore, and I think the only time I ever used the app was like 5 minutes. And at one time there was a Lego store event and that didn't use the app, it actually used a browser version of the app, but I digress. So anyways, I'm going to rank these sets for my personal opinion on how good they are, if they're worth picking up, if they are collectible, things like that. I'll do footnotes about each one as I go through. This is like the poorest poor man's shoestring budget version of a dumpster in the back, discounted Slugger video. Like the ones where it's like, so you want to get into blah blah blah, have I got a video for you? Well, this is not the video, but it is something. I have a way of communicating to you the information that I feel, that opinions that I express about these sets. It's taking me too long to get them out of storage, so let's do it. So going in order, starting things off. The first thing I see here is the hot dog stand. That's actually one of the few Lego Hidden Side sets officially I do not have, but I could always rebuild from parts. I do have the figure from other sets, and it's a cool looking polybag. I do like it. I do still want to obtain it at some point. I don't think it's critical. I don't think really any of the polybags are very critical, or the magazine gift with that matter, are really critical sets to look into for Hidden Side. Every Lego theme has their share of small sets to give you a sense of it, but not fully demonstrate it. And I'm not talking about demonstration with the app or anything like that. I'm talking about one of the reasons why I like Hidden Side so much is because I enjoyed playing with the theme without the app at all. And while I do feel bad and regret that I can't play with the app ever again, that there was a limited time to do that before it was delisted, there's still good sets. There's still playable sets beyond that. And that's not something you can say for a whole bunch of other Lego themes that have done fluid play, especially video, but I digress. So, for the hot dog stand, I'm not going to count it as critical to pick it up. If you do find it at a good price, or if you do want to build it, I think it's a cool looking thing, a cool little model, but it's not really anything that captures a lot for Hidden Side as far as aesthetic or playability. So I'm going to put that down here in E. I'm going to put the cannonball right after that. That was a gift with purchase. I do remember getting that, and it wasn't really that critical. It's cool, it's neat as a little thing, but you know, it adds a little more to El Fuego because he is a stuntman, but it wasn't critical among other Hidden Side sets. You could get El Fuego in other sets in multiple variations, and you could probably build this out of any old parts. The engine piece that has been like historically used for not just plain engines, but also net launchers and, you know, catapults and things. You can find that anywhere. It's not a hard thing to rebuild. Okay, the next one, the juice stand. So I don't remember these all by name, unfortunately. It's been a while since I've looked them up. But this is basically a juice bar. It has a little thing that pops up. Very basic on the transformation feature compared to other sets. A lot of other sets kind of have that where like the sign just pops up and makes a face. So, whatever. The barista, if I understand correctly, is sort of exclusive to the set, but the parts are available in other places outside of Hidden Side, so it's not like critical of getting this set to get that figure. Parker is available in a lot of other sets as well, so there's that as well. It's a nice little model, but again, it's more fluff. It's more, you know, you add this along to a larger scenery. It's not something that you really get a lot of experience out of on its own. So, once again, I'm putting that down here in E. The Hot Rod car. So, this one actually, I'm going to bump it up a bit. And only by a little bit, because it is a vehicle that does interact a little bit more with the other stuff that's going on with Hidden Side. Yes, it's a very good vehicle-heavy theme, but I can see this pairing alongside other sets very fluently. And it does also have that cannonball function, which is literally just the polybag we just talked about. I don't recall if it has any exclusive parts to it, and I know the figures, again, are available in other sets. It's a gift with purchase. You could probably rebuild this from your own parts. Not that bad. I do like the Hidden Side function with it, that the eyes pop out from the sides of the doors. That's just a little more creative than the signage, in my opinion. So I'm putting that one up here in D for now, because I think it actually does match up a lot better. It feels like a small model that would be included with another larger set. I could think of a number of sets in this theme that would pair up nicely with this, aside from just aesthetics. It's actually like good for play function too. The Science Lab. Okay, so this is like baby's first Hidden Side set. This is so introductory. It's not bad in any way, but this was the lowest retail offering when the theme launched at $20. It has 3 minifigs, if I remember correctly, and it's not the worst thing out there. It is like a critical part of like, okay, JB does need a lab, but there's really not much to it. You have literally 2 sides of the lab itself that you can flip things around. That's kind of neat, but there's not a lot of play function to it. There's a little bit of like detail that's nice with it, if anything, but beyond that, I didn't really get much out of this one. So I honestly would put this down here in E. There's not a lot of Hidden Side functionality with it beyond changing the head, and that's a thing in a lot of sets. It's nice, but it's not, again, anything you would miss if you got other sets instead. Now we're talking! The Shrimp Boat Wreckage. Oh my gosh, I can't describe how much I love this set. Even when this set was, when I first built this set years and years ago, I can't believe it's been 7 years now. But years and years ago when I built this set, I loved this thing. I loved everything about it. I thought there was a good balance of figures, a good balance of parts, a good balance of models, a lot of good play functions. It invited story to it that I crafted right after building the set. I love this thing. It wasn't that hard of a build. It looks really nice. It's good to go with other sets. I love this thing so much. Honestly, one of my favorites of all of the Hidden Side theme. And yes, a lot of the sets also have this fluid play, like, spinning thing that's, you know, integrated in a lot of sets, and it does feel like a repetitive build after a while, and it does feel like a little, like, awkward when looking at the rest of the set. This one hides it a little better than most. I'm okay with it on this one. The rock formation, having it actually split up the boat, is great! I love that! You have the boat that could be used as its own thing, but you can also have it in a wreckage by itself. So much is good about this. It was originally a $30 set. I think it stood by the $30 price very well, and I highly, highly recommend this set. I wouldn't say it's a set to get for the theme, because maybe that's not everybody's thing, but it's definitely way up there for me. S rank, no doubt about it. At least an A, but definitely an S. I'm gonna put it for S for right now. The Graveyard. Okay. A lot of Hidden Side sets, because of the fluid play, especially when they're buildings, kind of have this like open function. You can look at the whole set at once, so you scan it across with your smartphone. I get it. This one definitely leans into that more than most, in my opinion. But with that being said, it still has a lot of cool functions to it. And if you got 2 copies of the set, you could probably make an enclosed graveyard, although small. You could still make an enclosure to it fairly easily. So I do like that the statue spins around, and yeah, it's obviously for the app, but it's still a function nonetheless for playing with the set. You still have the headstone, the gravesite itself that can open up. That's really cool. I like the way that was built. Something that I haven't really seen from LEGO before or since that point. And the shed, the warehouse or whatever you want to call it, is pretty neat too. There is sort of an exclusive minifigure in here with the with I guess caretaker, graveyard, whatever you want to call them. I'm kind of lost for words for right now. It's decent, and I do remember this one being available pretty commonly as well. So yeah, you have a good time with this. As far as the Jack and Parker iterations, I know there's very subtle changes between the sets, whether they change outfits or they change expressions on the double-sided torso or the double-sided head. It's really not like crucial, but you know, something that if you're a fan of the series, obviously you could get into. But like for any of the sets, I'm not gonna say one's better than the other. Parker is Parker, Jack is Jack. You know, no matter what outfit or expression that they have, I'm not really partial to it either way with that. So I'm gonna say at least a C for this one. I think it has a little more merit. I think it's a great atmosphere, definitely. Especially for this type of theme. El Fuego Stun Truck surprised me a little more than I expected it to. As far as the suspension, and there's like a locking mechanism to it. So there's actually like an included tension spring in there, like an old classic Technic piece. That makes it more bouncy. Yeah, that's good. It has pretty substantial room in there for minifigures, so I do like that. A little busy in the back, but whatever. It's a big truck, stun truck. Go with it. The bike with it is also a nice inclusion. I don't think it's taking away that much as far as parts, and I think it's like fairly decent for how it's built, and still able to hold 2 minifigures on there for that size of a bike. That's cool. I'm always a sucker for the 3-wheeler choppers like that, so there's that as well. Skull Motorbike from Ninjago was an old example of that, but this is like smaller than that, and even though less functioned, it still looks good. So, I'll put this one up in C as well. Shrimp Shack. I love the Shrimp Shack. I love this set so much, I bought it twice. I kid you not. So, I love the way this one looks. I love the way that this one feels. This is unique. This is something that Hidden Side does that no other LEGO themes really offer. As far as not just the restaurant itself, but also all of these little play functions. This is a total play set through and through. This is one that's like, I said before that the graveyard and other sets and other buildings are like, oh, you set up a certain way to get this scan with the app and blah, blah, blah. No, this one you can play with on its own flawlessly. It looks great all around. It has a great interior as well. I love the way that everything changes with this one. The return of the 2-cab piece from Adventurers is great in here and in several other sets as well, and just phenomenal lineup of minifigures. Some of them that aren't necessarily exclusive to this set, but are great as an inclusion, as a whole package. So and this kind of pairs up with the shrimp boat that we were just talking about. So I like it for that as well. S rank for sure. Paranormal Intercept Bus. I really like this one, but I feel like I need to modify it a bit more. I feel like there's a little more I would have personally tweaked with it just to make it a little better. It's kind of cool that the interior has a different function than most vehicles from LEGO do, in that you have it all slide out from the back. And that's reminding me personally of like the soccer buses from LEGO Soccer. So that's cool in its own merit. But with that being said, yeah, I could just kind of like, I also want to just like open the thing up from the top as well. You know, just have a lid, have it as a lid sort of situation. I love the badass look of it. You know, that it's a school bus amped up very well. It's like something that could have existed for the Lego Movie 2 sets, but came out before the Lego Movie 2 by a year. And yeah, as a set, it looks great. You got the porta potty that's fun to play with to make that actually transform a bit more than just, oh, I flip this thing around. Oh, you actually take things and build it up a bit. That looks, you know, that's pretty cool. The panels on the sides popping out are cool. I do like that. Yeah, that's a pretty good recommendation on this one. I'd at least put it up in A. The Haunted Train. So back in the day, I made a video where I was trying to convert this thing to 9-volt track. Just to see, like, okay, how easy of a conversion is it? Because naturally, it does come with train track, and it does come with the right kinds of wheels to attach to train track. However, it doesn't have good couplers. That is an easy modification, as long as you have couplers, magnetic couplers, I should say. Because the ones it uses are in the toe ball joints or mixel joints style. So that's always like a drawback to it, where it's like, in its vacuum, it's okay as a playset. With other trains and with other train track, you're better off putting it with other, modifications. But easy ones nonetheless. Hashtag Pop Those Wings was one of my favorite things out of it. Just the way that the function comes up. Like a very subtle lever from the top, and the wings just pop out from the sides of it, I think is really cool. The way that the mouth opens up from it, it's well integrated. That's what I like about it, is that it works very well as both a train on its own and a monster. The cargo in the back, I think it's kind of lacking. I think there's more that you could do with that than what's offered. The train station, it's kind of neat, just to have it there. But the transformation is, again, I just lift up a sign and, oh, there's a face underneath. Like it's a little bit on the basic level. But the engine itself is definitely the best part of this whole set. There are a couple of exclusive minifigures in here as far as their torso designs, mostly the train staff. They look great. I really enjoy them. I really wish that they used them some other time. There's a lot from Hidden Side that is like only exclusively used in this theme for minifigure torsos and prints that could have been used any other place. Like, come on. I could see them being reused and I wouldn't have a problem with it. If you threw it into like a city set or something, that's fine. That would have been great. And then there are a couple of them where they do. Like, in this set itself, there's like someone with a blue flannel. That, with like a banana or something on a t-shirt, that's used so much. That's been used for years after this theme. This is where it generated. So anyways, it's cool. The train's great. It introduced a new track piece, which for LEGO trains does not come around that often. And, has been used a couple times since then. And it's actually a really, like, yeah, if you're running LEGO trains, you probably don't use it that much. But in a vacuum, as a train set by itself without a full circuit, this works fine. I think it looks great. So, with that being said, I know the music stopped, by the way. So with that being said, I'm putting that one up there in A, at least. If anything... Well, I mean... Okay, let's lower it down to B for now. The Haunted High School. It's not a bad model when it's done. However, I remember being a little frustrated building it. And I understand it kind of has to be built on both the front and the back simultaneously in order to, before it gets up to height and things like that. But I literally built this thing in 2020 or 2019, on on a turntable. I put it on a like Lazy Susan and twisted it around every few steps. You have to build a little more, twist it around, build it on the other side. I also found it a little clunky a few times, that like some parts would fall off very easily, and not even just like the exterior stuff like the bench or whatever, but I mean like on, like the claws that are supposed to pop out from it. I think it's a little... It integrates well enough as far as the monster transforming features, but there's still a few things here and there that are like, well, if you just look at it at a different angle, yeah, you don't see it. But it's something that, from minifig point of view, could still be seen pretty easily. So, I think it's still cool. I still think it's a great concept. I think there's still good stuff about it. I like the way that the bell tower connects and has a little spinning room with Mr. E, or Miss, that's fun. That's cool. It's not a bad playset, but I think there are, again, some things that could use tweaking with it. So we'll throw it in B for now. Welcome to the Hidden Side. Honestly, not a lot to write home about this set. There's like a little bit of it that I like, because the Hidden Side is supposed to be like an other world, like in the way of like the Upside Down being another world but parallel, like in Stranger Things. And this is one of the few glimpses we actually get of it, like physically. And I understand, like, okay, well, we're doing it through the phone, so it makes it look like it's more paranormal than it really is, because you don't actually have it in front of you, but it looks, like alternated. But as a theme, as a set, as a setting, it's a little on the lackluster side. It does have some cool parts. It does have some cool colors of things. You do basically have every figure in here exclusive to this set. And again, it's more the kind of thing that you'd be interested in if you were already into this theme. I wouldn't say this is like a good starting point or anything like that. It is the only set, I will say, that actually properly has ghosts in it. Again, this is kind of leaning into how the app and how the theme is developed, that you're seeing them through the phone and blah blah blah. So you don't actually get physical manifestations of the ghosts in most of these sets, outside of like a headpiece, hair change, maybe a few other little things to swap around minifigure parts, but not of the ghosts directly. And the ones that are shown on the boxes, incredible artwork. Love that stuff. They are not included. They are not physical elements of the set. So, that is one thing I will give Welcome to the Hidden Side for, because we've now crossed over into that dimension or whatever. You actually have a physical toy manifestation of these ghost creatures, but they're basic ones. They're not the huge over-the-top ones from any of the artwork for any of the other sets. It's fantastic artwork. I am not discrediting that, but when it only lives as that, it feels like you're getting half of an experience, especially in, immersing yourself in that theme. So, I'm going to throw that one down here in D. It's like a good complement set, but I wouldn't recommend it as a start. The Dune Buggy. I really don't like the Dune Buggy. There was just... Like, it's a fine set on its own, but it just felt like it felt like more fluff than anything. After I've built a lot of the other Hidden Side sets, I was just kind of like, what's this doing to excel upon it that I don't already, that I already have available elsewhere? Like, I would take the stun truck over this in a heartbeat. It's got some cool little pieces here and there, but I don't think it's anything really to, like, justify. There's a lot of, there's, like I said, it's a vehicle-heavy theme. It does have a lot of these, like, ghost hunting, weaponized vehicles. That's fine, but, it's a dune buggy. It's very basic. You could probably build something like this from Creator just as good. I would honestly recommend the Creator Monster Burger Truck mod that Nick on Planet Ripple did. He did that years ago. Fantastic. That is a suitable truck. I really like the way that came out. I don't have that set, unfortunately, so I have not done that mod myself, but I still appreciate the craftsmanship. So this one, I'm going to throw down here an E. Just pass. The biplane is actually decent. Like, it's a decent build. You got a jetpack, whatever, someone else with the set that's exclusive to it, as far as parts or as far as prints go. But a biplane's a biplane. I don't think it's really breaking more ground than other Lego biplanes, other than the fact that it's newer. Like, if you don't mind newer style Lego pieces, this works well. It's got a little turret in the back, if I remember correctly. It's got a little turret in the front as well. It's got seating at least for 2 minifigs, which I do appreciate. But it is really just that. Like, I kind of would like to see a little more with it, and I get that, if you took away some pieces from the plane, it probably wouldn't look as good. But a lot of the Hidden Side sets, they have nice reach, but not a lot of connection. At least without building your own stuff. It's like, people have said, like, where this theme takes place, where Newbury would be, like, theoretically located in the United States. And I have a hard time figuring it out because of these kinds of reaches. It's like, okay, they have planes, they have an air show of some sorts. What kind of open space do they have that's gonna allow that and still have a swamp, like in the shrimp boat? Or, a bunch of these other sets, so you have, like, coastline? I don't know. It just doesn't feel... It feels okay, if anything. So, if I had to put them down anywhere, we'll put them in E for now. The subway, I love the subway. This is a cool set. It does have the basic playset function of, you have this thing wide open, you scan the parts, blah, blah, blah. I know it uses those A-frame pieces like other sets do, like the other buildings essentially do, except for the haunted house. I mean, the haunted high school and the shrimp shack. But this one, with Welcome to the Hidden Side, is my recommendation. I think this one is a stronger set than Welcome to the Hidden Side, but it does complement it. It has a literal connection towards the back of it, and I'm like, how is this not part of the instructions? How was it? It looks so intentional. And I really hope it was intentional. That, like, when you walk through this gateway in Welcome to the Hidden Side, it has a subway thing. This is a whole subway system. And it literally has a train that pops out, grabs a minifigure, throws them back in, and at the back of this whole set has some of these, Hidden Side-esque pieces in those colors, in that color scheme. That works so well. That's my personal recommendation, is if you are interested in either of these sets, I would say they pair better together. But if you had the budget for only one of them, I'd go with the subway on its own. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. There was also cool minifigures with it, or just other like little areas to play around with. I like that from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well, so I'm kind of biased that way, of like these little tunnels and little side areas and things, you know. The differences in elevation and such. Yes, it's not a complete train that's in here, but for the function to work, I understand that. So if that's a gripe for you, yeah, I could see that. Like, compared to the other train set that is a proper train, a Lego train, this one is like a pseudo version of that. Whatever. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I like it. I enjoy it. Haunted Lighthouse. It's okay. Like, I feel like the interior should have been a little wider, but in order for the transformation to work, that's what takes up most of that interior space. You can still put things on the inside of the lighthouse, but overall, I am having a hard time liking this one. Like, I kind of want to get the Scooby-Doo lighthouse by comparison, because it's almost the same kind of... It's not the same build or construction or anything, really, but the same kind of premise and silhouette that almost looks better without that construction. I do like how one of the lerp pieces is used and has like these little fingers that come out from the bottom of the dock or whatever. I do like that there's a little cave on the side of it, but there's really nothing else in that cave to do anything with. The skeleton with the horn is obviously fun. You know, can't deny that. The diver that's included with this looks great, and basically looks like Samantha Rhodes from Atlantis. So that, you know, I enjoy that for its own merit. It's exclusive to the set. But the lighthouse by itself, the actual structure, I have a hard time with this one. There's not much to really do with it as there is around it. So I'd say we'll put that in D for now. The amusement park is fun though. Granted, it does take up quite a bit of space. It is quite a big thing to lay out and make sure that nothing falls apart, so that the track doesn't fall apart, so that the things don't fall out of place, you know, because they're supposed to like be activated by the rides and such. Great premise though. Love this premise. But yeah, it is a little bit like it needs a little more stability. It needs a little more tweaking to it to just make it work right. But I love the layout. I wouldn't ask for more out of an amusement park set for Hidden Side than what is given here. It gives you basically 3 different attractions. It gives you 2 clown minifigs to turn into ghosts. It's got your basic figures with it as well. It doesn't need to have a full roller coaster to be enjoyable. And it's a really creative, like, little, like, almost like a tester strain sort of thing in the middle. It actually does take a little more, like, strength or, you know, ability to get through it. So I do appreciate that. But it does work. I do like it. So out of these, I'm going to put it in C for now. I am very biased towards underwater Lego. But I can't tell you, with all honesty, after watching the entire Hidden Side series and the Cartoon Network special, this thing basically doesn't show up. I don't remember this thing in any episode, in any scene whatsoever. But I like it on premise alone. Again, this is one of those things that stretches out from what the main setting of Newberry is, but it doesn't have much to connect it else with anything. And, you know, it's cool having a diver suit for Parker as well. You get Von Geist with this one. You get a cool shark with this one. I think it's great, but it's the kind of thing that I like personally a little more, and would probably invent my own story to go with it than say that it's like a critical thing to, you know, to pick up, to enjoy the hidden side sets. It's the kind of thing that feels like the shrimp boat in premise, where it's like, okay, you got a vehicle, you can put that vehicle on the base here, or you can have it, you know, around it. The base by itself also has its own play features here and there. They're not bad. It just feel like, you know, it kind of dials it back a little bit. I still like it personally, but I don't find it as essential. This car rocks. I'm not even lying. This is the car that made me think, oh my god, what if Hidden Side was secretly a successor to Monster Fighters, and that Von Geist was a former Monster Fighter? The way that this car is designed, the outstanding color that it has on its own compared to other models in this theme. The dark green definitely stands out. I love it. The way that Von Geist looks, he looks like he's from an older time, and he's definitely like a couple descendants back from Parker, but really feels like you could throw this in with Monster Fighter sets, no problem. It doesn't have a lot of play features to it. It is a basic hot rod car, but it does look nice as a hot rod car. So there's not a lot I can speak for that. It's got another minifigure too that's good with it, even though it's not exclusive to this set. But I think it's a serviceable vehicle. Like, if you had to get like a certain... If we were just ranking the vehicles as well with Hidden Side compared to each other, I would put this one upper in the ranks. Probably like a C rank or something. Like, you know, for vehicle-based sets. The school bus is up there, the train is up there, the stunt truck is up there, and then this hot rod is up there. Yeah, I would definitely put the hot rodder over these other ones so far. The abandoned prison. Interesting premise. Again, not the kind of thing I would have expected, but I like that there's a little bit of outreach there for Hidden Side, and definitely feels in the tone of like the spooky theme. So I actually do like this one, even though it's very bare bones. There's not a lot to do on the inside of this structure, but it does have a great look to it on its own. Unlike the graveyard, where it's like, oh, you can get more than one of it, and you kind of make a bigger enclosure. Yeah, you can make a bigger enclosure with this as well, or even mirror it, but I don't think you really need to. I think it covers everything essential that it needs to. You know, you have a cell block, you have a watchtower, you got, one or two exclusive minifigs in here, at least as far as characters. There are some pieces that are used in other themes as well after this. Honestly, again, this is one where I'm surprised that, like, the security guard that's used in here could have used his head or his torso in other LEGO City sets, and I wouldn't bat an eye. So, I really enjoyed this one, personally. It's not great as far as play features, but I think it's still, a neat concept. I'm going to actually look up the backside of this for just a moment, just to refresh myself. And in prison. It gives me a bit of the Urbex vibe. And that's what I do like about some of these Hidden Side sets, is that, it makes it more spooky because they're going to places that aren't fully constructed or, inhabited. Just pull that up. Okay. Yeah, it's got Spectre, it's got El Fuego, it's got the little claw things up here, and that turns around. It's a little better for the integration, I would say, because it's like, okay, you're not just flipping this thing over. You have to move things around. Like those like the watchtowers, like I was saying before, are actual things to move out of place. That being said, you have this like cell door that you don't have to move anything beyond the door itself, and there's a bunch of teeth to it. The basketball area is neat, just to have a little extra going on there, just to give a little more plant life surrounding this place. You know, I like the color scheme with this, with the olive green. It's great. You know, you got little platforms here and there to do things with. Yeah, I'm actually trying to look for like more things about this, but I'm looking at this thing from the back and it's so it's so basic. It's like once you open that cell door, there's nothing else to do in that area except a little toilet seat and maybe like a little safe or whatever. But and then even on the other sides of the buildings, it's like, okay, there's a bed here for a prison. Okay, that makes sense. And then basically nothing on the other side. So I personally like this one, but I also get that it might just be a me thing. Okay, the fire truck. The fire truck is not... It's not bad. I think it's a good idea. The mech is an interesting, like... It reminds me of Galaxy Squad, where they had like a vermin vaporizer or something like that. And there was literally a mech from the back of it that either could act as a turret or it could be separated from the vehicle itself. And that's okay. And it works. And I don't know. It feels a little awkward when the mech is taken away from the rest of it, because the legs of the mech really just hold up the entire back of the fire truck itself. Like, you put those as two separate things, and you're like, okay, weird exposed area of the fire truck now. It does have some nice little panels in it. It does have some room for two minifigs. I do like those things. It does, again, use that Adventurer's two cabin piece. The legs are a little awkward on the mech itself to me, personally. And the arms are just cannons. I don't know. I feel like if it had a little more to it, like put a net on one of them, or, you know, make them asymmetrical to each other in some way. You know, maybe that would, you know, accelerate it a bit more than how it is. But it's not a bad looking model when it's all together. So, again, I would probably put this down there. Maybe I should move some of these other ones around. Maybe these go up here. This up there. This up there. Something like that. And you do get TV. That's cool. And you got the, I forget what his name is. But again, it's another set that has an actual being from the hidden side itself, in a physical, tangible form. So I do like that as well, and with the giant minifig head as well. And then you have the minifig version of that in the next set. Honestly, that's straight up. That is it was such a good set to end the theme on. It has a great enclosure. It has a good way of opening up to be a more accessible playset. I like that it's doing a little half and half there with, like, it's got an observatory, but it also has this, you know, this gooey hidden side element to it. From the front, you can look at it as it is. And it won't be like, oh, there's some weird hidden side stuff that's still, like, in the way. No, you could go through that just fine. I like the stained glass. I like the little rooms. Again, granted, the structure of the main structure of the castle does not have a lot to work with, but there is some room to do things. It's not like the abandoned prison where it's like you look around the side of it and you're like, oh, it's empty. It's like, oh, well, you got a little castle, you got little rooms here and there, you got little bits of lore and bobs and things. So it's not bad. I do like that stuff. It reminds me a lot of the Vampire Castle from Monster Fighters, and I think that's something a lot of people could agree with. this last portion of Hidden Side does have, like, some sort of, like, collectible gimmick to it, and it obviously has all of the crystals and things in this gimmick, or in this you know, set. It's got staircases, yeah, a lot of different floors to it. I think it uses its space very well. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but it has a lot of other little areas you could, you know, traverse through. Little piano in here, the throne is cool. I'm looking at this again on the side. It's got other little rooms in that, like, that tower on the side of it. It's not bad. I enjoy this one. Out of the Hidden Side sets, I've been trying to get back out from my storage in my collection. This was one of the first ones I thought about. It was like, if I can't display all of them, this one for sure. And not just because it's Halloween aesthetic on its own, but because this was actually a decent set. This was actually a great offering. And I am very happy to have that. I do wish it had the winged figure from the Hot Rod set. I think that's the only one that has those wings in that color. Because the guys in here are essentially the same thing, but they don't have wings. They just have little shoulder pads. But, still good nonetheless. I still highly recommend this one, the Shrimp Shack and the Shrimp Boat, to get a really good Hidden Side experience out of it. And even the ones in A are a substantial experience as well. The magazine bag ones are all just essentially minifigs. So they basically go into F because you can pass on every single one of these. If you have any of the sets, you can skip these. I actually do have one of the bag ones, the JB poly bag, and it's the exact same parts as I own in a whole bunch of other sets with JB. You know? So they're only really here because it's like, oh, it's another promotional kind of thing. It's another way of accessing these figures. But at this point in time, it's really not essential to get them, because while they do have main characters, those characters are all over the place. You can get them in a lot of different places. You could add a little bit more with these characters being in there, but you don't have to get them as a set, quote unquote, as a minifig, as a magazine bag or whatever. Just for the merit that, you know, it's literally just the figure and a few accessories. And you could just order that on its own if you wanted individual ones, you know, on Bricklink or something. You know. I like that it gives a little more for the Ronnie character, aka Pepperoni, having another offering for him, and having him more possessed than the Shrimp Shack, because I think the Shrimp Shack one, he's one of the few characters they don't possess in there. He's more so the dining staff. Yeah, not much else I can really say with this. I am pretty satisfied with the with this layout. So I'm gonna see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see it just a bit better. Oops, would probably help if I was on the right tab. There we go. Should probably save this. So, in my opinion, if we want to talk about sets to get for the theme, it's basically a three-way tie. I personally would go with the shrimp boat, just because it's more affordable, it's very playable, it's very story-driven. But I don't blame you if you want to go straight to the castle. It's just that if you go to the castle and not understand the rest of Hidden Side as a story, it's only like the final chapter of it, and it doesn't really include everything from before that. Then again, none of the Hidden Side sets offer any of the ghost figures that I mentioned before, that are also critical to the story. I think if I remember correctly, the lighthouse in the show is a critical point, but as a set, it's really not showing it, and it doesn't have the like the main baddie to go with it. You don't even have the ghost figure of the Maw, which is like super dangerous, you know, like a huge element of the story of the theme. Like, compared to other ghosts, there's really not much as far as, like, you know, getting the story physically, tangibly with these sets. It's like, I don't know, print out a picture of them online. I think it would have been nice if they included the artwork for the Hidden Side sets in one of several ways. One, as a poster. A foldable poster included in the set. One of the biggest weaknesses that people point out with Hidden Side in total is their marketability. And when you look at the sets on the shelves, when it has this like half and half look to it, it's confusing to the viewer who does not understand this theme, who may be first introduced to it, what this is. You don't know exactly what you're getting in the set until you flip it around. And I have actually seen this in LEGO brand retail stores even, that they just flip the boxes around to show the full set, the full what you get in here, just like these photos have. And that's probably not that is a huge disadvantage, where it's like, okay, a really creative idea, really good artwork, but very, very, like, not very, like, grabbing or not very selling to what the set contains. Again, you would look at the set and you'd be like, oh, I guess they have these ghosts in it, but they don't. You look at the back, they don't. Number 2, make the ghosts as trading cards. And I know it's been a long time since LEGO has done any trading card sort of things with system sets or in any LEGO theme in general, but much like they did in Ninjago, they have fantastic artwork that just does not go anywhere. So it would have been nice to have it in another physical, tangible way as a trading card, even if there wasn't like a game associated with the cards, but just like a way of collecting these creatures. You know, kind of riffing on Luigi's Mansion a little bit there, where it's like, oh, you capture the ghosts, you put them into paintings, and therefore they're preserved as a physical thing in the paintings. Wouldn't that make a lot of sense to do it for the trading cards? That it's like, okay, we've captured the ghost from the phone, we make a printout or something, you know, we transfer it into a tangible card form, you know, to seal it. I don't know. I thought it would have been cool. The closest thing that we got to that, I kid you not, there was a LEGO Store event, I mentioned it briefly in the beginning. There was a LEGO Store event that they had for like a weekend in some locations. And I think I did a video about this separately, so I probably have more information on there about it. But they had a LEGO event where you walk in, you scan a QR code, and it gives you this in-browser camera app functioned little game. And you go around the store and you try to find these ghosts. There's a blue one, there's a pink one, there's a yellow one. They're all the generic kinds of Hidden Side ghosts. They don't have any specific characteristics to them. They're in all different sorts of places in the theme. They're kind of like the ones that actually show up physically in the Welcome to the Hidden Side set, but even more basic. I gotta say, you find each of these with your phone without downloading the Hidden Side app. This is all done in the browser. You take a photo for each of them or a screen cap or something like that. And when you show them all to a LEGO employee, you get stickers of those Hidden Side ghosts. That was basically the same thing I just said about the trading cards, but the only thing they ever did related to it. Unless you count, like, headwear. They've done this kind of Burger King crown-looking thing for blue and pink ghosts, but they do that in a lot of LEGO themes. They do that for Star Wars, they do that for One Piece. You know? I'm not saying anything bad about those themes, but, like, it's extraneous merchandise. It's not as, like, integrated into the theme or the story as I would like. So, yeah, the stickers are nice. I'm glad I have them. I have a little postcard as well. I'm glad I have that. It's lenticular, if I remember correctly. Again, really good idea. Because it has one side of it that everything looks normal. The other side, you have the hidden side with it. That's a great idea. Great artwork. But using that as the main thing for the boxes was a downside for a lot of people to get into the theme. And you kind of had to, like, already have an understanding before doing that. And when you have to already explain something further to a customer before they're buying something, they start thinking the other way about it, you know? Like, I don't know. But, as you can see, I threw my 2 cents in here. I probably already posted the tier maker list for this on, you know, on the socials already, before the video is even done, before the video actually releases. I did not expect this to be an hour long. And again, if I actually made this as a proper, you know, with the sets in hand video, back in the day I wanted to review the sets. And I also wanted to review them for some reason without the stickers on them, because I thought, oh, let's see how the set looks without the stickers being a supplement, and then I never put the stickers on most of the sets. I think genuinely 2 or 3 of them I actually put the stickers on, and of them, it was the juice bar. So I gotta find those sticker sheets, probably with the instructions or the boxes or something, or with the sets themselves, and more thoroughly complete them. I would love to have them up for display, and not just for October, but throughout the year. Lego Hidden Side is one of my favorite current, more modern, I should say, not current anymore. It is one of my more favorite modern Lego themes, especially as an IP, because I think there's a lot of potential that they built into this thing, a lot that they expressed through it, and yet still needs some tweaking. I'm not going to call it perfect. I think there were a lot of really cool parts to this. I think there are some things that work well with each other, but I also think there are some things that it could have used more of. And unfortunately, without making videos for them, Lego didn't have my input directly at the time, other than like a few Twitter posts here and there, maybe a live stream. And who's gonna watch those? But, you know, like, I don't know if my feedback would have been greater if I provided it back then, but I still care about this theme now. I still think that this theme has merit, that there is something worthwhile to it, even if I've marked more than half of it as, you know, ones you could skip, or, oh, I may just have a preference for this, or, you know, something like that. But, you know, it had a great idea. And that's something that I can say more than other Lego themes of recent, especially for fluid play themes. This one did fluid play just right. And basically, nobody else understands that. They didn't understand that with video, which is like in the drastic opposite direction of what Hidden Side was. And then you have basically every other Lego Fluid Play theme that could be from Dimensions to Fusion to the Life of George, all sitting in the middle, where it's like, yeah, I have Lego pieces to interact with, yeah, I have to use the app to interact with them, but you're kind of left with a lackluster experience when those apps decline, or delist. And guess what? They've been delisted for a while. Some of them over a decade by now. So, what you gonna do with the parts? What you gonna do with the parts by themselves? Not to mention, they were very limited when they were a thing back then. Like Lego Fusion, I tried to go headstrong into it as soon as it came out, buying a couple of them from Toys R Us, but I could not. First of all, I didn't have screen recording, so I couldn't make a thorough review accurately. But from what I had played with it, and a lot of screenshots that I had taken, it was very limited. It was a very limited experience. You couldn't use your own parts with it. You had to use parts that were included with the kits. Any other parts could have been glitched out or just not there. Even the parts that came with it sometimes were glitched out. You were like... You were doing a very little building experience from mostly playing an app game. And that's not what Hidden Side is. You are building the entire Lego set as a functional, substantial Lego set. And then you have the app as a supplement to that. That's how Lego Fluid Play should be. A long time ago, I was trying to make a Lego Fluid Play video. This is the kind of stuff I would say in it. The whole spectrum of Lego themes that covers this stuff. Why I love Hidden Side so much, even though I never used the app. That kind of stuff matters. And that kind of stuff is, you know, something that I wish Lego would understand a lot better even now. And sure, they don't do as much of a fluid play thing in the past couple of years, but I know they're still working. They still have it in mind. They're like, how can we do this? Make it in a way that it kind of works with everything. I don't know. I've yammered long enough. I'm not trying to reach over the hour mark just for a goal or anything like that, or a duration or whatever. I just ramble. Shorthand, this is it. This is my quote unquote tier list, official tier list of the Hidden Side sets. I would love to get these out of storage again. I doubt I have anywhere I can put all of them up for display. But like I said earlier, if I did the hypothetical of like, oh, I can only take out a few at a time, this makes sense to me. I would be satisfied with these handful of sets. Anywhere from B to S. Maybe a little bit of C with the prison, again, out of personal preference, but that's fine. Yeah, where would I don't know where they would go. I'm looking around the room. I guess if I really wanted to, I have 2 shelves that are dedicated to 2007 Bionicle, and if I could reduce that to 1 shelf, maybe Hidden Side could go in there instead. That would make a lot of sense. Even though originally the whole shelf was supposed to be underwater themes of all kinds. I digress. You know, on top of it has Monkey Kid. On the next shelf it's Dreams. And even the Dreams sets, I've bought a bunch of them, but I have not built all of them, and I have not shelved all of them either. There's a whole bunch of them I don't own and have considered owning. But beyond that, yeah. I really need to figure out how to end a video. Gosh, I ramble. Hey, thank you if you stuck it all the way out here. I appreciate it.